yeah, let's go. Hey, 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 yo, come on. Hey, 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 yo, oh yeah.
Welcome everyone to the Fantastics Inside of Baseball podcast. No, we didn't abandon you. We're back. And of course, the people at Fantastics and InsideOfBaseball.com are working on a daily basis to help you win your fantasy baseball championship. Sky, how we doing, buddy?
Doing great, man. How about you?
Very good. Explain the shirt to me today.
Oh, this is an old one. This is an old Steven Gerrard Three Lions shirt back from probably 25 years ago when he was playing for England.
Okay. All right. So help me out too, because you're my soccer guy. And the Red Sox here, the conspiracy theory here on the Red Sox was the Devers trade had a lot to do with the signing at Liverpool. They signed that guy from Germany, apparently.
You know, I when you start commingling businesses and robbing Peter to pay Paul, I think it had nothing to do with that personally. I think that it had to do with he was totally disenchanted with management, and I think he had come to the conclusion that it was a permanent situation.
Yeah.
So he wanted out, and they acquiesced.
There's just
what did you think of the haul that they got, by the way?
I'm sorry?
What did you think of what they got for him?
It was underpriced. I mean, they could use arms, of course, and they're serviceable arms. And
Harrison's got upside.
Harrison's got some upside. I've always liked Harrison.
Yeah.
But you get to the point where, as you say, being too early is indistinguishable from being wrong. And I was kind of early on Harrison. So.
Yeah, and plus, going from probably the best park in the majors, arguably, to, for a lefty, one of the worst parks in the majors.
Yeah.
Just not ideal for his value. Devers, not ideal for his value either. Just all around sort of disappointing kind of a deal from my perspective.
No, it was typical Red Sox in that, though, as soon as all this started, and especially when he refused to play first base, I was on the mind, get him out. Trade him, get him out. It's just not working. And so I was all in favor of trading him, and I don't hate that he's gone, but still the Red Sox managed to screw it up and make it a bad thing.
We're past the honeymoon period right now on the titles.
Yeah.
Now we're right back in. Oh God, we're upset about everything in Boston when we're Boston fans.
Oh yeah. We're out of the. We're definitely out of all the pink hats have gone home. So it's just us.
I think with the Cubs, I think that honeymoon period lasts like a decade. With Boston, it's like, yeah, maybe you get 2 years or so.
No. Well, I mean, but the Red Sox ownership has earned it. They've just earned it. It's just.
Yeah, I agree with you, unfortunately. And, in this day and age, it's always, what have you done for me lately? And they just seem to continually be disappointing their fans the last couple of years. It's unfortunate because obviously one of the best fan bases in sports.
They've been aggressively disappointing their fans in the last couple of years. Been doing it in a very aggressive way.
It does feel intentional at times.
Well, I don't know if it's intentional that they want to piss everybody off, but it's like they don't really care either. So I don't know if that's intentional or not. Pay no mind to it.
This is, I guess, where I'm going with that. I think we're rapidly reducing the number of teams in all sports where it's not just a business.
Yep.
And that, I think, is disappointing to all fan bases.
Well, I mean, the LA Lakers sale is a perfect example of that. You get a team that basically, you get an ownership that was basically the team. That was it. And of course, they're very involved in. I don't know how the current generation, how involved they were and how committed they were. Their father was certainly committed, but now it's corporate and it's part of a group.
And we're seeing more and more of this as time goes by. They did retain 18% ownership, I think, with the Lakers, but obviously just divesting themselves from day-to-day operations of the organization. It's unfortunate, but this is what we see. And the number of this is what I loved seeing with the Knicks, where James Dolan was corporate and treated it like nonsense for a long time. And now all of a sudden it feels like the people running the show are invested and do care about the quality of the product. And that's what all fans want to see. You want ownership to be vested.
Dolan was very close to being a Patriots owner at one point.
We would have liked that a lot at the time.
At the point where Kraft got the team, Dolan was a big player in there. So,
wow. That, I mean, you want to talk about a 30 for 30 on what could have been.
Oh God, there are all kinds of stories in the Red Sox ownership too. And I don't want to this is something we don't have to dive into at all, but it's a reality with sports ownership on the topic. Wait till the Saudis get involved because they're going to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they and the Chinese own an awful lot of this country now, and it's just a matter of time before they take more of a foothold into the sporting aspect of things.
How many people can go pay $10 billion for an NBA team? I mean, there are people out there, but there's not a lot.
Counted on one hand, probably.
Yeah. All right. So what we're going to do today is take a look at players. I'm going to do something that I really like because this is something that I advocate. You can look at year-to-date stats, and we can look at players in a particular light, but sometimes you got to hold them up at different angles, right? So, and I do this all the time, looking at my teams and checking performances. I'll look at the last 21 days, even the last 14 days, and I'll flip around even the last 7 days to just vet that, because sometimes the 21 days, we're doing 28 days, but the 21 days and the 28 days can be kind of skewed by a good week or something like that. So you have to kind of vet it, but it's always kind of useful to look up players, look at a little bit more than the season-long stats, try to get a picture of who they are, because bad performances at the start, Marcus Semien is on this list, bad performances at the start can often skew these results a little bit.
Yeah, Marcus Semien's been on this list for 4 straight years, I think. So, absolutely, particularly when you're looking for DFS purposes, but certainly for season long as well. I think, you got a lot of guys that if you don't have a spring training or you have a truncated spring training, it's very easy to just come out of the gates ice cold, and management trusts certain players to kind of figure it out as you go. You get into May and all of a sudden it's figured out, and the season-long stats are going to be depressed because the last 30 days, that's less than half of a season.
Yep.
So if you start out really cold, you could have a scorching hot 30 days and still your season-long numbers could look pretty poor. So these are some opportunities perhaps to acquire players that are producing at star levels and maybe not judged as such by the general population.
And for DFS that you mentioned, and for streaming purposes and things like that, and even if you're just an active owner, we talk about riding the hot hand all the time. We do it for pitchers all the time. You can do it for hitters as well, riding the hot hand. I mean, not a lot of guys on these lists are readily available, but you can ride the hot hand. If there's a hot guy, you have a flex spot on your roster, ride them, because when they get hot, and they stay hot.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, absolutely.
Because they get that confidence going. And, the beginning of the season, guys like Semien, because Semien has a history now of being bad off the start of the season, it's just sometimes it's for veterans, it's less so, but sometimes it's just hard to dig out of because you're looking at that 220 batting average or that 170 batting average, and it's just hard to get your mind straight. So a little bit, sometimes when they get a spark, they ignite a little bit and run for a while.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And it's clear to me, I know when the standard sabermetrics position is that hot, cold is not necessarily a thing, but anyone that's actually played sports, momentum is a thing. Hot streaks are a thing. Cold streaks are a thing. These are all actual things. Just because they're not measurable doesn't mean they don't exist.
Right. And clutch is a thing. That was always a big argument against that.
Some guys can keep their heartbeat at a normal rate when it's, the maximum importance, and some guys can't.
And it's funny. And what I'm realizing is keep going back to the Red Sox, because it's been an eventful week. As we keep going back, the Red Sox and their stories coming out about them interviewing people with AI, it's just ridiculous. But it's a whole other story. Yeah. We have a different viewpoint on analytics, and I don't think we can be lumped in with all of analytics, because we will take, again, my saying is there's no bad data, there's only bad analysis. Mm-hmm. And you can take whatever these stats are telling you, and you can take them for gospel and run for them and just be blind to everything else that you see about the game. But I don't think that's the way to approach these stats at all. These are additional information to help you form a conclusion.
Well, you and I are of the generation where sabermetrics didn't exist, and then we learned it as it came about. So we do have kind of both sets of knowledge that we utilize all the time, as opposed to some of the younger guys that just grew up with sabermetrics, and that's the focus of what they do. Like, I love numbers. I love going
incredibly insightful. We both love it. Right?
Oh, yeah.
We both use it and lean on it heavily, but not putting blinders on, not seeing other things you need to see.
Absolutely. And, numbers aren't everything. So you're watching the game, like I have to write tonight. I'm going to be watching baseball for 3, 4, 5 hours because it just helps me get a better read on things.
Yep. All right, but let's look at some numbers. Let's do that. And let's look at the last 28 days. And you picked out a bunch of guys that are interesting, of guys who have been hot over the last 28 days.
Yeah, there's some interesting names on this list, that's for sure.
And who's hotter than Ronald Acuna Jr.?
Well, nobody, and a lot of it is luck because you just look at that 440 whatever BABIP that is. He's always been a high BABIP guy because hits the ball hard, has great speed. That's the one thing that I've noticed, though. If we'll start with a negative, which I don't generally like to do, his speed is down pretty considerably.
Yeah.
Now, it was down after the last knee surgery for a while, and then it came back. And he still is above average as far as speed goes, but he's not running. And that obviously was always a big part of his value. And I keep harping on this, and I'm going to continue to harp on it until I don't play fantasy baseball anymore. But I hate the roto format.
Yeah.
Stolen bases should not be of paramount importance to anything as far as, is this a great player or merely a good player? Ronald Acuna is a great player. He is a great hitter. He is one of the best hitters in baseball, and he'll probably continue to be until he retires. Just the sheer fact that he's not running does not make him worse, but in roto format, it does.
That's kind of the soda.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. Like he's not worth a top 5 pick because
he doesn't run.
It's so dumb. I hate that format so much. It bores me to tears.
It's always been dumb, but it's even dumber now when we have stolen bases expanding as much as it has, and you can get stolen bases from a number of sources. A few years ago, before the rule changes, stolen bases were rather concentrated and rather suppressed in the game. But now that's totally different. You don't need a guy to be a 5-column guy. You like it, but you don't need it because you can find stolen bases in a number of different places.
You can, but that's the flip side of that argument is guys that give you 0 in terms of speed are rarer now. So it actually might cost you a little bit more.
Digs you
a little less valuable. So look, Acuna, 390, 495, 720 over the last month, 8 homers, 21 runs, 14 RBIs. Exit velocity is back up. The launch angle is up. The patience is up. Everything looks great. Yes, he's been lucky. Yes, he's not running, but he looks as healthy as he can be. I think he's a fantastic player. I love watching him. It's so nice to see him back and have the Braves playing a little more like the Braves should be playing.
The quality of contact numbers look a lot like 2023. I mean, he hasn't got the plate discipline down as much, but he's just working back into it. He's only 85 at bats back into his return. But the quality of contact is there. It portends good things. And no, he's not going to steal 73 bases.
No, but never again, in my estimation.
Oh, of course. No.
Or maybe even half that.
Right. So, but again, I'm stuck with Ronald Acuna Jr. I don't think so.
Yeah. I mean, if you're sad about that, I'm happy to take him off your hands.
Oh, man. I was hoping someone else would drop down to me in the first round.
Yeah, he's just a terrific player. And you can see the energy around the Braves as soon as he came back, just instantly is significantly better.
Yeah, and he brings along that extra juice with him, which is something that analytics doesn't measure either. That whole team changed enormously.
Stars are stars, and they're stars for many reasons. One of them is the leadership aspect of things where, hey, get on my back, we're going. And that's the thing I think is, honestly, you mentioned Juan Soto. I think that's what's been missing from Juan Soto this year. I think the whole fervor and nonsense around the signing and him going cross town, he hasn't been the same guy. The swagger hasn't been omnipresent like it was last year, the entire season, all season long. It's not there right yet, but he's a special player. It'll be there.
Remember Bryce Harper? He signed that contract in Philly. It was kind of the same deal.
He was pressing that first half of that first year. He was definitely pressing. So I think it's a very similar situation, honestly.
So I can imagine the two of them sitting down at the bar somewhere talking about how hard it is to have the big contract,
and then talking about maybe we'll play together in 5 years.
Maybe. Well, Sosa's not going anywhere. No, I'm sorry, Harper's not going anywhere. There's no opt-outs. But
I mean, there's there are always ways.
Well, John Henry could buy the Phillies and then just move on from Bryce Harper.
Then another fire sale.
Another fire sale. Yeah. But that's a really interesting comp because Bryce Harper had some struggles at the beginning of that contract. It was not easy for him.
No, I just think guys like that, I think they do care a lot.
Yeah.
I think they put a lot of pressure on themselves. It's not a situation where they sign the big contract. It's like, all right, we're okay now.
Yep.
I mean, these guys want to win. They want to be stars. They want to be just everything that their team needs them to be. And sometimes it's 110% effort is a little too much.
And Harper is a charismatic leader. He's a leader. You can see it.
He's a fire leader.
Is Soto that way?
I wouldn't have said that he was before, but his year last year with the Yankees, I thought he was that way. I thought he brought them an energy. Aaron Judge is not that way generally. I think Soto brought that a little bit out of him. Before that, Aaron Judge is a very kind of stoic personality a lot of the time. And you watch what he's doing this year. I think Soto improved Aaron Judge and vice versa.
There are some guys who lead by example, and I think Aaron Judge is one of those guys.
I think so too, but I think you watch
throw stuff around in the locker room and have closed-door meetings. I think just showing up every day and doing what he does, he leads.
Well, I think he was doing that before, and then I think we watched Soto, and he said, "All right, well, maybe I need to change what I'm doing a little bit. You to thine own self be true, of course, but I think he's a little different now. Just my, watching 3-4 times a week. That's what it seems to me.
Who the hell is going to try? Who wants to disappoint Aaron Judge? If you're in that locker room, who wants to get Aaron Judge?
Nobody.
No, nobody.
Who's on the bad list for Yankee fans right now is Volpe. He's made some pretty critical errors, bad swing choices. I think his development has just been not what everyone, including himself, had hoped it would be.
Yeah, and I think there's role confusion there. What his role is in the lineup and what his role is on the team.
Well, because it keeps changing.
Yep.
Aaron Boone, the question always is, who do you replace him with if you want to get rid of him? And I think he's done a good enough job in a lot of ways, but there are certain blind spots that he has that bother me pretty much perpetually.
He does, but I think he has the penultimate skill for Yankees manager, having played with the Yankees, been in those clubhouses. He's going to keep that clubhouse together, and he's really good at that, I think.
And media management. And it's very similar to Joe Girardi, where they had blind spots, but the positive attributes that they brought to the table were just greater.
Need a bench coach. That's what they need.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Like a Zim. We need a Zim.
All right. Cal Raleigh has been incredibly hot as well. He leads the majors in homers still.
Yeah, I believe he does. And, I'm not afraid to say when I'm wrong about a player. And I said in the preseason, that Cal Raleigh's performance last year was about the maximum that we can see from him. And I was wrong, as Ron White would say. I was wrong. He's taken it to another level this year in terms of the contact ability. I really thought it was going to be problematic for him to put up better than a 230 average or so pretty much perpetually. And I think he's at 266 as of yesterday before the game.
Mm-hmm.
He's just been outstanding. 12 homers and 28 RBIs in the last 27 games. It's remarkable. He's hitting 295, 378, 695 over the last month. He has 8 stolen bases for the year. I mean, this guy is not fast. How does he have 8 stolen bases? Like, that would be like me having 8 stolen bases right now. I don't understand.
The M's have to do stuff, right? They have to create some runs.
Well, he's on base all the time. So, every once in a while people – oh, Cal Raleigh's on first. I don't have to hold him. Well, he's a smart player. I can't believe he has a 266 average. The exit velocity's up again. The launch angle's up again. All of this stuff is good. He still has contact issues. I still think this level of batting average is a bit above what he should generally be capable of. But if he can give you a 250 batting average, that's better than league average now.
Yep.
So, man, I mean, he's just a star at this point and clearly the number one catcher in my estimation.
Well, that's just quality contact. His BABIP doesn't seem unreasonable, so he's not particularly looking. He's just hitting the ball hard, and that's the thing that impresses me about Cal is that big jump in quality of contact this year.
It's that and swinging and missing less. I didn't think that he'd be able to make that adjustment and still maintain the level of power. And not only has he made the positive adjustment there, but he's actually increased the power a little bit, which is it's just a great year with some positive adjustments from him. And I don't care if it's been a little bit lucky. He's just great.
Yeah, a little bit more pulled too. So I mean, I don't think I don't know how lucky it is. His BABIP isn't unreasonable, but I'm not looking for the 266. That's not what I care about, right?
Well, no, but you don't want 220,
right? So,
even getting to 245 would have been awesome, but 265, that's that is manna from heaven.
220, gonna hit me 35 homers.
It was fine.
Position, yeah,
it was fine, but that guy is not the number one catcher.
Yeah.
You jump that batting average by 40 points, and he clearly is.
All right, Brandon Lowe, hot as well.
Yeah, Brandon Lowe is hot. 8 homers, 27 runs over the last 27 games. Batting high in the order. RBI chances are a little bit minimized, and I know his on base is 387 over the last month, but so much of that is batting average driven. He is not a huge on base guy generally. He's not a very patient hitter. I think the Rays offense will probably be a little bit better suited with him down in the 4 or 5 slot than the 2 slot. But again, then, who do you put in the 2 slot? Because that lineup is much weaker than it's been in the past.
Yeah.
But it's getting better. Junior Caminero has been hot. I think he's further down this list. You got a couple guys in Cameron Misner and Jake Mangum that are showing enough to get you interested a little bit.
Two is your top hitter right now, basically.
Brandon Lau, he's definitely their top hitter.
Philosophy in baseball, for 2/3 of the teams out there, 2 is your best hitter.
Well, yeah, but is Brandon Lau your best hitter?
Yeah.
I think Junior Caminero is your best hitter.
Okay.
So, anyway, that notwithstanding, exit velocity is a career high. He's been really unlucky to this point. Fly ball rate is actually down, which is probably good for him. It was getting a little high. Pull rate's at a career high, which is allowing him to maximize the power. Should be pushing the average down, but it hasn't. The contact rate is just, it's awful. And that's why I think that the lower the contact rate for a hitter, the more streaky you're going to find that hitter to be. And we just happen to be in a Brandon Lowe hot streak right now. I like most of what he's doing, but he is a sell high candidate for sure, because he's about as hot as it gets, and this won't last.
Okay, so the last time he had 500 plus at bats, he hit 39 homers. Can he get the 500 plus at bats again this year? Because I don't
see why not.
Yeah, I mean, he's playing well enough to continue in the lineup and get those at bats if he stays healthy. Of course, at that point, he's going to be a 30 home run guy.
Oh yeah, yep. Which is always, with his power, that's always what he is if he's healthy.
Yeah,
but he just has not been healthy much.
Okay, so let me take us into the woods again, because you and I have a conversation about this at least once a year. And this is a qualified list. Exit velocities have been up, but we've been talking about this on podcasts for a while. And I'm constantly surprised by exit velocities, especially when we were back in May and April. Something going on. Exit velocities up. We got a ball thing. We got a torpedo bat thing. What do we got?
It's not a torpedo bat thing. How much of this is just a continued focus on increasing exit velocity at the expense of contact?
Yeah.
And how much of this is something on a manipulative level from MLB, which we can always speculate on and rarely be certain of.
Yeah. I don't know. It doesn't feel like there's a ball issue here. It just seems like quality of contact, exit velocities seem to be up. I don't know.
And as bad as the weather has been in much of the country for the first 2 months of the year, you would not expect that. So there must be another explanation.
Uh-huh.
Cue the conspiracy theorists.
Cue the conspiracy theorists. I'm not ready for that. Brent Rooker, you talk about streaky hitters. Brandon Lowe's a streaky hitter. Brent Rooker is a streaky hitter.
Well, and you want to talk about increase in value. Brent Rooker just hit 10 games in the outfield. So in most leagues, he is now no longer strictly DH eligible. So happy days, because outfield is still not as strong as it was 10 years ago, 15 years ago. So to have Brent Rooker not occupying a U slot for you is a major, major coup. Definite huge boost in value.
And that's not a big deal.
He only has 5 homers over the last month.
The whole DH thing isn't a big deal for me, because I get as many helpings as Marcell Ozuna as you can, although he hasn't started out all that well. But it does constrict you at times. So getting that extra qualification is huge.
Oh, it is. It's massive.
Yeah.
And I think that, Rooker has definitely, he's taken a little bit of a different tack this year with that lineup, and he's not power only. In fact, the power seems a little bit down. He's 339, 433, 560 over the last month. And most importantly, something you never would have expected from Brent Rooker, he's walked more than he's struck out over the last month. The contact rate is up significantly this season. And it has to be a conscious effort, because the chase rate's down, the in-zone swing rate is up, contact rate is up. I mean, he's just making much better decisions, but he's not selling out for power. So Brent Rooker, he had a great year last year all around, but it was power centric.
Yeah.
It's not that way anymore. He is just a terrific all around hitter, and I love to see it. He's a great Twitter follow. He's really just a savvy guy, really kind of a grounded, nice guy, much like Vinny Pasquantino.
It gives us more value and more benefit for me is he hit 293 last year. So he wasn't particularly forced to go make an approach change. He wasn't particularly forced to go to a contact issue. Of course, he had a 362 BABIP, so if he's savvy at all, he understands he had a little bit of luck to build into that. But usually it's the guys who have the 220 batting average who find out, oh, I got to make more contact. He didn't. He just evolved his game in a way, and this is the first player we've had on this list that shows a pretty clear approach change. He just evolved that way just because he thought it was a better way to approach it, not because the statistics told him he needed to.
Yep, I think you're absolutely right. And, if he's looking at this data, last year, 46% fly ball rate, 44% pull rate, generally speaking, not sustainable for a better than league average batting average.
Yep.
He hits the ball hard enough that he was able to, but there was a lot of good fortune in there. So he's cut his swing strike rate by 2.5%. He's cut his chase rate by 4.5%. He's hitting fly balls at about a 6% lower rate, and he's pulling at a 2% lower rate this year. And lo and behold, he's hitting only 272, but he's hitting 345, I think I said, over the last month.
Yeah, but he's hitting a 272 with a 310 BABIP as opposed to a 362 BABIP. That's more real than the 293.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think he's just a terrific hitter. The only problem that I see with Brent Rooker is typically guys that are late breaking into the major leagues also flame out a little early, and he's 30 already. So hopefully we'll get a good 2, 3, 4 more good years out of Brent Rooker, because I like the guy and I love watching him progress as a hitter.
But again, what I really like is he's not sucked into who he was last year. He's not sucked into the 293 and 39 homers. He's working at being a better hitter and quality hitter, which belies a thoughtful approach, which may help extend that burnout period.
Yeah, I think so. I think that last year's almost 40 home runs is probably not attainable the way that he's hitting now, but that's okay. I think you're going to continue to see the batting average and the OBP drift up towards last year's fortunate levels. And so he hits 25 to 30 homers. Okay. Still pretty darn good hitter. And now he's outfield eligible too, which just adds so much value.
By the way, he hit 39 homers playing in Oakland half the time.
Oh, yeah, in the mausoleum, exactly.
Yeah.
And now you've got Sacramento.
But his quality of contact last year didn't really support the 39 homers either. It's good. It's not 40 homer good, but it's good.
No, he's a 30 home run guy.
Yeah.
But now he's a 30 home run guy. There's a very good hitter as well.
Yeah, and he can sustain it. He went from a 246 guy to a 293 guy. Again, that was because of 50 points in BABIP that helped him there. So this you can lean into this a little bit. He's not a 292 hitter, but you can lean into a 265, 270 hitter here.
Yeah, and whereas if he had continued to hit the way that he hit last year, I would have said a league average batting average would have been probably about what expectations should be at. Now we're probably 20 points above that.
All right. We talked about Junior Caminero earlier. He's the best hitter on the Rays, you say?
I think he's the best hitter on the Rays, and I just love the kid. He's 21 years old, and come on, he's doing this stuff at 21. 9 homers, 3 steals, 25 runs, 28 RBIs over the last 27 games. He is scorching hot. 308, 368, 654. He's up to 17 homers for the year. Exit velocity is up again. The max exit velo is 116.5. He's top 10 in the league as a 21-year-old.
I know, right?
This is amazing stuff. So this kid, man, he is still growing as a hitter. The launch angle is still improving. I don't even know what this kid's going to be in 2 years, 4 years. He is a wonderful player, potential Hall of Famer, great, great player. I would try to acquire him in every dynasty format.
17 homers and 275 at bats, and he's got a physical gain or 2 left to be made here.
You would think 21 to 25, you typically get a little bit more physical maturity. I mean, he's a pretty big kid, but man, I feel like there's going to be a little more here. Edgar Martinez with a good glove.
Yeah,
I mean, really, he's a great, great player.
And what does he do? He cuts his swinging strike rate from 14.1 to 9.1 in his third year. I mean, he's coming into his own. There's low-hanging fruit in terms of his development as a baseball player. There's low-hanging fruit in his development, his physical development as well. We're not even, there's another gear, maybe 2 left here.
Yeah, I think that you're seeing the first bit of it this year with the launch angle and the contact rate both changing pretty significantly.
Pull rate too, yep.
Yeah. I think there's going to be another level in terms of average exit velocity. His max, you can see, is the power level is basically elite. So as he gets more consistent, What's that?
What's his max? Do you have it in front of you?
116 and a half.
116 and a half.
Yeah, I mean, that's top 10. So, O'Neal, Cruz, Stanton, Judge, Shohei, they're up at a different level, but Caminero is in that next tier right now. And if he gets a little bit stronger, he could join them there with better contact ability than all of them.
And he's going to hit 30 homers this year.
He is going to hit 30 homers this year, and he should be challenging perpetually for 40 and potential batting titles in the future. Just a wonderful player.
Love it. And you'd love to see 21, like you said.
Yeah, 21. Yeah, just absurd.
Just a kid.
Yeah.
We have kids older than that.
We both do. Two of them, in fact.
Yes.
A piece.
Yeah, exactly. Jeremy Pena, 322 hitting so far this year.
Yeah. All right. So most of the guys on this list, I'm like, go get them. These guys are great. They're finally getting hot, et cetera, et cetera. Jeremy Pena has been lucky. 28 games, 21 runs, 3 homers, 9 steals. One thing I'll say about Jeremy Pena is I think we all get colored by a player's initial exposure to us as fans.
Yeah.
And his first season, 22 homers. People are thinking, oh, well, he's going to be a 30 homer hit. No. If he hits 22 homers again, I'll be surprised. It's just not what should really be expected. He is having a great year on the base paths, and his speed is actually up. He's last year 11th in sprint speed. This year he's 12th in sprint speed. He's a very, very fast player, and I think he's finally figured out how to take advantage of that speed. He's reading pitchers better. He could steal 30 this year easily. He's got 15 halfway through the year.
Mm-hmm.
So we're really seeing some improvement, and I think that's why he's staying at the top of the order in Houston, also because they don't really have any options because that lineup is quite weak right now. But the on-base percentage is really batting average fueled. He's been a little more patient this year, but not significantly so. Swing strike rate's down consistently, which is good. He does make a lot of contact. But again, he's been very, very fortunate. And I think he's much more of a 15 to 20 home run hitter than he is 20 plus, which, after a couple disappointing years, you might have thought, oh, he's going to get back to that rookie year performance and improve upon it. I just don't see that. Jeremy Pena is a guy I think is overrated in general.
This is a matter of zone definition. He doesn't have a well-defined zone. It cuts down his walk rate. It cuts down his contact ability. And, he doesn't do a lot of swinging strike. That's probably why he doesn't zone up a little bit more than he does. But that's the thing. And he's 27 years old. So I'm not expecting big gains there.
Exactly. What he is what he is now. And what he is, and I hate seeing leadoff hitters with chase rates in the mid or upper 30s.
Yep.
You don't want that. If anything, and this is stuff that is like non-quantifiable, but you want your leadoff guy to see as many pitches as possible. You want him to see more pitches than anybody else on the team. The more pitches he sees, the more everybody else gets to see.
Yep.
And we go from there. And Jeremy Pena is a hacker, and he is very much miscast as a leadoff hitter. So, but the Astros, like I said, they just don't have many options right now. That we're used to thinking of the Astros as just a totally talent-laden organization with all kinds of options.
Right.
And they do not have that right now.
No, and the Astros play a role in this whole chase rate and zone definition too, because I said he's 27, don't have much faith. If he's 27 and been in the Astros system, have no faith. They've got as much as they can get out of him because the Astros
get sponge dry.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yep.
They've been trying for years to get him to zone up a little bit.
He's a perfectly good player. I just feel like he's overrated. Right now, he's at like max capacity for his performance, in my opinion. Then again, I said that about Cal Raleigh last year. So we're
Speaking of Max Muncy.
Glasses. If you can't see, get glasses.
Right.
That's all you need to know. I mean, if you can't see and you're trying to play baseball, seems important to me. This is why I've always said, people talk about steroids in baseball being this like massive performance enhancing thing. LASIK is much more performance enhancing if your goal is to hit a baseball.
Yeah. Job one is you got to be able to see it.
Exactly. What do we always say? Can you make contact? Okay. That's step one. If you can't see, you can't make contact.
Well, I guess, yeah. So it's not step one. Seeing the ball is step one. But there's more to it than that. It's picking up spin, things like that. It's incredibly important. It's amazing how some of these guys neglect that. Do baseball teams not do eye exams? I mean,
even something as simple as slow pitch softball. I noticed that I was slumping a little about 5 years ago, so I started wearing glasses to the plate, and all of a sudden I was like, oh my god, I couldn't see. So, if it's important when the ball's this big, it's probably important when it's this big.
When it's that big and going 10 miles an hour as opposed
Exactly.
to this big
If you
going
can't
100
see
miles an
that,
hour.
yeah.
Yeah.
I am blind, actually. So, yeah, I mean, I think that it's pretty clear that there's been a market improvement in everything across the board for Max Muncy. And, correlation does not equal causation, but it has to be that he can now see again. Last 26 games, 6 homers, 3 steals, 308, 447, 577. Max Muncy, wonderful player in OBP-based formats. He's been unlucky, too. Slugging percentage is 80 points less than his expected slugging on the year via StatCast data. So I think there's even more to come here. I think Max Muncy is having a terrific year, and I think it's going to get even better. The thing with Max Muncy is, and this has been the case forever, is that people view Max Muncy as an excellent power guy.
Yeah.
And while he provides very good power numbers, he is not a big raw power guy. He's an elevation guy.
Hence the volatility in his power production.
Exactly. His max exit velo is, maybe it's average-ish. So, yeah, I mean, he gets his power numbers from loft, which depresses batting average. So that's why we usually see what we see for Max Muncy, which is low batting average, good on base percentage, and good power numbers because of the way he hits. But now that he can see the ball, everything is going to be up a little. The power numbers probably already were close to maxed.
Is it possible, again, major league teams don't do eye exams on players? Is it possible?
You would think not, but anything is possible. There's oversight everywhere.
Because it's just so basic. You got to be able to see to hit the ball.
If a player doesn't tell you he's having an issue, how would you know?
Well, you're paying him.
You're saying they should just do prophylactic eye exams for everybody?
Yes.
All right. I mean, I would not dispute that.
You're paying someone millions of dollars to hit a baseball. Isn't it important? I mean, you give them a physical, right?
You would think that they would have one every year.
I don't know. It just shakes my faith in what's going on here. All these analytics departments and nobody's doing an eye exam.
Physical analytics? Is that a thing? That's a Will Carroll thing, I think.
Well,
Basically.
there you go.
Biomechanics.
And again, you're doing it physical. You're hitting his knee with a hammer, seeing if he has reflexes.
It's good. It's a good point.
Have him sit down and do an eye exam.
It seems logical, seems like it would be a no-brainer, but clearly it was not, because this has been a couple of year issue for Muncy.
Because you and I have been 20 and 30 years old. You may not know you have a vision problem, right? Usually,
what did I just tell you?
Oh, we're not going to tell you. Yeah, that's.
I mean, this happened to me, because you don't notice gradual deterioration much in anything. It's the whole frog in a pot of water theory.
Right. So they don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to know the look on his face. First time he went into a batting cage with the glasses. Probably exactly what
look on his teammates' face when they saw him with glasses on.
Okay, Willie Castro.
Yeah, I mean, now we're getting into the part of the list where there's some guys that you might not be considering. And Willie Castro is a staple on a lot of my teams because depending on your league, he has eligibility at second base, third base, outfield, and possibly shortstop.
Yep. Super
valuable. Depending on especially when you get into deeper formats, having that positional flexibility is massive. Now, Willie Castro, he looks like a little guy. He's not. He's like 6 foot 205. And that's why I always feel like he's showing more power now than people expect to see from him. He's only played 54 games this year, has 7 homers. He's slugging 470. Like, we haven't seen this from him since his second little cameo back with the Tigers in the COVID season. So it's good stuff. He has 5 homers over the last 25 games, hitting 345, 427, 545, which is great. His speed is merely above average. People look at him 33 steals 2 years ago. He's not a huge speed guy. He's going to give you some steals, but he's running less and less. I think he's bulking up a little bit. Career high in exit velocity. His max exit velo is average plus, so this is legit. There's plus power here. Line drive percentage is up. Pull percentage is up. He's not a great contact guy, so the batting average, the 365 BABIP is probably excessive right now. 265 is the expected batting average via StatCast. But I think the power is pretty legit. I think he could be a 15 to 20 homer guy with a plus batting average. at least average speed. This is good stuff. He's a good player. And you compound that with the positional flexibility, and he's a very valuable guy on rosters.
That's the first thing I saw. I saw the BABIP and I saw the home run to fly ball rate, and he's been a little bit lucky. And I'm looking at the quality contact rates, and I wanted you to talk me into it because quality contact rates, they're up this year, which helps support his power production being up.
Mm-hmm.
Still not particularly compelling, though.
Well, they're not great.
Yeah.
But they're approaching average. The max is above average. The hard hit rate's crested above 40% for the first time. And last year was the first time above 35%. So for me, he's clearly improving as a player.
Yeah.
And when you look at it, like he's been a utility guy for pretty much most of his career where he doesn't know if he's playing every day, let alone where he's playing.
Right.
Now it seems like he knows that he's playing. He just doesn't know where he's playing.
A little bit more comfort level at the plate.
Right.
Regular bats are a big thing.
Yes, I think you're exactly right. And you're seeing basically every metric improving as he finally gets a true full-time role, even if it is kind of a rover type of a role. So I really like Willie Castro. I think he's a little bit above average in every aspect of the game. Compound that with positional flexibility that he has, and I think he's an excellent player to have on a roster.
All right, TJ Friedl is a guy that many of us don't pay attention to.
It's because he has no exit velocity. No.
Yeah.
But he does hit for some power.
So that's just approach.
Well, I don't know if it's approach. I don't think he has a lot of power, but that park really does help him.
Yeah.
That's 26 games. He's got 5 homers, 21 runs scored, batting at the top of the order in a very, very favorable hitter's ballpark, arguably the second most favorable park in the league. And it's the most from a home run standpoint. 327, 419, 545 over the last month. He's been very lucky, particularly in the power categories, but a lot of that has to do with the home park again. Mm-hmm. He's on a 16-18 pace for homers and steals. And if you can get that from a guy that is absolutely a plus contact bat, this is some good stuff. Swing to strike chase rate way down. Line drive rate is way up. He is a plus average hitter, below average in power and speed, but the power is mitigated by the park. So he's a useful guy. I think he has a tendency to be overrated, but he's useful.
Below average speed. I mean, his speed is fine. I mean, he's going to get to high teens and stolen bases.
Sprint speed is
sprint speed. Yeah.
Yeah. He's not guys can steal bases with average speed.
Right.
Cal Raleigh would be a glaring example of guys that can steal bases with below average speed.
Guy's right now. TJ is on a pace for high teens and homers. Could potentially scare 20. Which makes him incredibly valuable at this point because he's a good stick and he can steal a few bases. And it looks like he's got everyday playing time. 15
to 20 in homers and steals with a very much plus average.
Yep.
And he's batting at the top of a lineup that is terrible on the road, but excellent at home. So probably going to be in the middle of the pack. Where are they in runs scored right now? 8th. So, yeah. I mean, they really have disappointed on the road quite often this year. But that home park combined with they do have some talent in that lineup has made him a top 10 offense. So he's leading off in a top 10 offense. He's going to have teens in homers and steals with a great batting average. What's the problem?
Just as an aside, you talk about park effects. I know you and I talk about park effects a lot. A couple things stunned me. First of all, I went to see what the effect for Devers was moving to San Francisco. And San Francisco is a miserable park for left-handed power.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely miserable.
Barry Bonds, only guy that I know of that consistently can hit the ball out there.
Well, he's Barry Bonds. I mean, you could hit the ball out of anywhere.
To be doing that.
Even before he started taking stuff, he could hit the ball out of anywhere.
Yeah.
But many people were saying it's not going to be a big deal because Fenway is not a great left-handed power park. Well, it's a considerably much better left-handed power park than San Francisco.
By probably 20%, I would guess.
Yeah.
That's not insignificant.
But my point was I was surprised how low Coors ranks in all these things. And we talk about messing with the ball, but what about humidors, things like that?
Well, Coors ranks not where you would think it would in home runs.
Right.
But in terms of run scoring, it ranks very highly because that outfield is just enormous.
A huge outfield.
And doubles and triples galore.
But people tend to think of it as a home run ballpark, and it's hitter-friendly, but it's not on the scale that you normally would assume it is.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, it's a plus park, but not a plus. What is it? I think 7th in home runs. Maybe?
I'm going to say somewhere in there. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a plus park, but the Great American Ballpark is almost always number 1 for home run adjustment, which is why pitching there is so difficult.
All right, now we're getting fun. The next two names are very interesting to me. Let's talk about Lawrence Butler, who had a very slow start to the season, and I invested a lot in him, so I was very wary of that slow start.
Well, and you and I talked about that off air and on air, and I thought that he was pretty vastly overrated coming into the season. Not to say he's not a useful guy, because he is, and there's a lot of talent here. But I just didn't know what path he was going to take. You know, he had a really hot second half last year, but he wasn't very good the first half last year either. And that April was pretty miserable.
Yep.
So, you know, last month, 27 games, 4 homers, 5 steals, 23 runs scored, 297, 361, 541. Exit velocity's up, but the swing strike rate is way up, and the launch angle is down. He is a very contact challenged hitter, and I'm not sure that is ever going to change. But he's a 2020 guy, and he hits the ball hard enough that I think that the batting average is probably going to be sort of neutral. He has a decent eye. It's just his ability to strictly make contact.
Yeah.
That's an issue. So I think he's a good player. Is he a great player? I don't think so. Could there be more adjustments? Yes, he's only 24.
He's a 2020 guy, and that's the thing that's encouraging. He has contact issues, but they're not zone issues, right?
No, they're strictly contact issues.
Strictly contact issues, and he's shown some better contact ability in the past for periods of time. So there might be some potential in there. He's 24, so I don't know how much growth potential there is there. But it's encouraging to me that his contact issues are not zone-based. They're just getting a bad head to the ball. And
well, it's encouraging and discouraging at the same time.
Well, yes, but it also might be a situation. It might be adjustments. It might be they're working a little bit differently. I got to look at this.
Or he needs glasses.
Maybe he needs glasses.
Well, you know, we talk about this all the time. Like the 3 things that we want out of hitting. Can you judge what pitches you should swing at and what pitches you can't? Butler can.
Yep.
Can you make contact with them when you decide to swing? Not really very well for him. Can you do damage with it when you make contact? Yes. So Meatloaf sang a song. It applies.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Got it.
I got there. I'm of that age. I can get there.
I know. We're of an age, so.
A little bit down in fastball deployment. He's down about a little over 5%. So they're pitching him a little differently, but I don't know if it's enough to justify the 14% swinging strike, especially with his zone control, is a little bit disturbing. But I'd be curious to see what it is over the last 28 days, for example.
I would as well, and I didn't have that information. So yeah,
it might be just a chance of adjusting. Addison Barger is a guy. Every time I open any kind of article on waiver claim pickups, Addison Barger's in there.
Why would he still be on waivers?
No, I know. I mean, there was a period of time where that was the first name on every list.
Yeah, I mean, we're at 50 games now for the season, and he's slugging over 500. So I think we're finally seeing somewhat potential fulfilled quotation.
Yeah.
You know, Barger's only 25 too, so I think that we're just getting to physical maturity here. I think he's a really interesting player. 26 games for the last month, 6 homers. 312, 373, 602. He's had a 24 homer pace for the full season. He's got brilliant exit velocity and max exit velocity. 116.5. Didn't we use that number with Junior Caminero? Because it's the same.
Yep.
93.3 in the majors this year, 96.5 in the minors. Average exit velocity.
Average, yeah.
We're up among the leaders here, over 50% hard hit rate. And if you look at the StatCast expected data, he's been unlucky. Fly ball rate is up. All about this feels legitimate for Barger. And I'm just happy to say that I was on the Addison Barger train 3 years ago, and I've had him in my permanent dynasty league where we don't even have contracts. You just have a guy until you get rid of him.
Yep.
And I've held him and held him and held him. And finally, right when I need him with about 4 injuries, he comes up this year and he's helping me out.
The power is unquestionable, and he's got a hit tool. And when you have that combination, that's a guy who you should find interesting.
Oh, definitely. You know, there's not a lot of speed, which is unfortunate, but he's got an above average hit tool and even better power than you think. He's probably in the borderline elite category in terms of raw power.
You know what? If there's a number one inefficiency in the market right now in fantasy baseball, it is that people getting discounted because they don't steal bases.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Without question, because of what you have said for the last season and a half, that everyone steals bases now.
Yeah.
And what we just talked about with Ronald Acuna, if he's not going to steal bases, somehow he's not valuable anymore or not as valuable anymore. I find the whole thing to be ludicrous. And it all stems from the format that most people play, which is dumb. I'm going to say it forever. I don't care that I'm in the minority and everybody laughs at me for wanting to play head-to-head points leagues. They're more fun and they're more appropriate in terms of actually valuing players.
We need a T-shirt. Roto is dumb.
Can we make one? I think we should do that.
I
got a guy.
We could have several T-shirts. I think we should do several T-shirts here.
Hashtag Roto format is dumb.
You've got 3 or 4 sayings that should be T-shirts anyway.
I'll leave that up to you.
We tease them.
I've been doing this too long. I think that's what that means.
We teased them in the beginning, and it seems like every year we were talking about Marcus Semien and whether he's washed up at this point. And he has these long, bad stretches off the start of the season. This almost seems routine at this point.
Well, one of these times he's not going to come back.
Exactly right. Yeah.
34, and second basemen tend to age about as poorly as catchers, which is to say worse than everyone else.
Right.
So, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I really thought this year he was probably done. But over the last month, 26 games, 4 homers, 4 steals, 322, 382, 522. What's wrong with that at second base? That's pretty darn good.
No, it's very good.
So here's what we look at. We look at career splits with Marcus Semien.
Mm-hmm.
And 70-point difference between the first half and the second half in ops. 70 points.
Over the course of his lengthy career now, 12 years.
Of 14 years in the majors.
Yep.
So this is a thing. And, just don't draft him. Just go get him off the wire or trade for him on May 1st or May 15th or whatever date you want to pick.
Interesting way to go about it.
This is just, it is every year. If it's perpetual, you can play with it.
In the last 3 years, he's hit the low to mid 20s in homers despite these slow starts.
He has.
Yeah.
And the June K percentage is half of what April's and May was. He's at like 15% now, and he averaged about 31% between April and May. So clearly, just something clicks around late May, early June for Marcus Semien, and here we go.
All right, just keep him at the complex for a while. Extend his spring training.
Either that, or like get him some better cold weather gear or something. I don't know. Like there's something up there. Like Giancarlo Stanton was always the same way, and I just felt like he just needed like earmuffs and a turtleneck or something. That some of these guys. You don't see this from guys that grew up in North Dakota, okay? They can play in April.
Yep.
But some of these guys that grew up in warm climates, they don't play ball when it's 38 and drizzling.
Stanton has that physicality. You could look at him and say he's not going to be a cold weather guy.
Exactly.
I don't know if Marcus
he's like, that's out the field. I know it. So Marcus Semien, I don't know that's weather related, but it clearly is calendar related. 70 points of ops, that's no joke. That's a trend. That is something you
plays in Texas now and played in Oakland. Those weren't particularly severe weather places
but they go to severe weather places.
Yeah, it's true. Like everybody else, right?
Yeah. So this is literally, it is 4 years in a row that we've gone through this conversation. Is Marcus Semien done? And as soon as we say that a couple times, and all of a sudden he goes on a streak like this, and here we go. So it's going to happen until it doesn't happen. So I think it's just a bank on it.
We're looking for our 5th year in a row with Marcus Semien too. 600 plus at bats, 650 plus at bats.
Well, and what's the Bill Belichick saying? What's the best ability?
Best ability is availability.
There you go.
Right. Yeah. And by the way, we play even roto formats, even the dumb roto format. We play cumulative stats. You get 100 extra at bats. That's valuable.
It is absolutely valuable. And when it's a guy like that, or this year notwithstanding, Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler. These guys that give you constant performance, it goes up and down, but it's there. That stuff is really important. And Marcus Semien is generally a healthy player.
It puts the 26, 29, 23 homers the last 3 years in perspective too, because if he's 100 less at bats, we're looking at him as a completely different player looking at those totals.
Yes.
So that's
rest assured
at this point. Even at 34, he's going to throw 600 at bats at you.
Yeah, and he's put up an ops of 900 for the last month. And while he'll cool off from this pace, I expect the general level of performance to continue through the rest of the season, because even if everything doesn't support it, he has been unlucky in general. And the launch angle is up. Yes, he's swinging and missing a little more, but that has been cut in June. So he just looks like the same guy that he looked like for the second half of last year and the second half of the year before, and the second half of the year before that, which is to say he's a guy that's going to give you something like 350 on base and a 420 slugging, which at second base is just fine.
Yep. Yeah, that's at the position. He's a valuable guy.
Yeah.
And you don't have to roster another second baseman because he's going to give you 6. He's going to play every day.
No, you just need to get one for the first 6 or 8 weeks of the season.
There you go. He's not going to play well every day, but he's going to play every day.
I am not drafting him next year. I will tell you that right now.
Just go find him off the waiver wire.
Somebody's going to dump him at the end of April. I'll wait 2 weeks and pick him up.
It's a good plan. It's not a bad plan at all. Okay, so I'm begging you now, Maikel Garcia, do not ruin him for me. I'm begging you.
I want to pump the brakes a little bit.
Okay.
He's only 25.
Yep.
Last 25 games, which is the last month. 3 homers, 5 steals, 347, 387, 531. He's moved back up in the order.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a pace for 1530. Exit velocity is good. His max exit velocity is average. I'd say in general, Maikel Garcia is he's an average plus power guy, and he's a plus speed guy, and he's a very much plus contact guy, and he plays second and third base. I mean, what's not to like? It's just that the ceiling might not be exactly what we thought in terms of power, right? I haven't seen as much as I had hoped to.
Yeah.
But if he's a plus batting average guy and a neutral power guy and a plus speed guy, okay, that's good. It's a good player.
He's not a 25 homer guy. Just come to the reality that he's not.
He's a 15 to 20 homer guy and a 25 to 30 steal guy and possibly a 290 to 280 to 300 batting average guy.
With some position qualification versatility.
Yeah. He's a great player.
And he's got a good stick. He's, those batting average, I love the batting averages here, and it hasn't been too pumped by BABIP. He's going to be a better batting average. He's going to be a contributor in batting average.
Yeah. He's been a little lucky, sure. But, for a guy that was like a 22nd round draft pick or whatever, he's great. Is he a top 10 third baseman?
No.
Maybe, but top 15, sure.
Yeah. Okay.
I like him. I think he's a very good player.
Yeah. 15, 30? 15, 30.
Take it all day long.
Take it all day long. Exactly right. So you didn't ruin it for me. That's good. I appreciate it.
I aim to please.
Pasquatch, Vinny Pasquantino.
Speaking of guys that are great Twitter follows, the Pasquatch is awesome. And he even has a Sasquatch as his Twitter profile picture, which is great. So,
have you seen the guy that they have walking in the fountains with the Sasquatch costume?
Yes. They're buying into this, and I contend until the day I die that I started it.
Okay.
I have gotten no credit for it.
Then you got to go hit them for merchandising revenue. You got to.
Yeah. I'll wait till they make a ton and then sue them. It'll be great.
I haven't looked at the pro shop, and I'm guessing there's a Pasquantino.
Oh, there has to be. I'm going to Kansas City in July. So
okay.
If they have one, I'm buying.
All right. Yep.
So I also hope to meet Vinny because I don't think I told you this. I bought field passes for batting practice.
Oh.
They're like, oh, do you want to do autographs? I'm like, no, I'm not a child, but I would like to chat with some of the players if it's possible.
So, okay.
Okay. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait.
Yeah.
So Vinny's only got 3 homers over the last month, but he's hitting 361 on base 436. X velocity is good. Max X is very good. Swing strike rate is up a little bit. Contact rate is still very good. He is still very much one of the rare, very good contact, very good power bats.
Yep.
Just because the numbers aren't there yet, he does have very good potential in contact and power. So, yeah, he doesn't steal bases, but you don't get steals at first base. So You just don't even worry about it. Great player, underrated, love him.
I think the fact that he plays in Kansas City, first of all, because of the ballpark, secondly, because of the philosophy of that offense, I think that's going to suppress his power is the wrong word. It's not going to encourage his power.
Right, yeah, it's definitely there's a bit of a deleterious effect there. But he's one of these years, he's going to hit like 290 with 35 homers, and people are going to be like, "Where did that come from?" Well,
no,
this is the potential that he has.
I just don't think that's the hitter he wants to be right now.
Well, I'm just saying that one of these years, instead of doubles, they're going to go out of the park.
Yeah,
because that happens to all hitters. Alex Bregman hit 35 homers. He has below average exit velocity.
That's true.
So,
well, that was a good ballpark for him, and he's in a good ballpark now if he can ever get healthy again.
It was. And, maybe if Vinny ever gets traded, good Lord, I'm on board immediately.
Yes.
We'll get him in every format.
Oh, God, yes. Again, and that might be offset by the fact they want him to be more of a production hitter and more of a middle of the order, old school middle of the order.
Traditional number 3.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think you're right, actually.
So someone's got to say to him, okay, let the power loose. I know you want to be a hitter because it's Kansas City and you don't have, the ballpark's not conducive to it. But by the same token, we need a little bit more out of you. So go ahead. I'll protect Bobby Witt, right?
Well, I mean, he hits 42% fly balls and 47% pull. So it's not like he's just not doing it. But he hits a lot of pop-ups. And, the home run to fly ball rate is weirdly consistently low for him, right around 11%. Just there's something there that's odd. And so maybe I'm off base in terms of his power potential. But I fully expect him to have a couple 30 homer years in the next 5.
Well, he's got more power. He's certainly got more power than mid-20s.
Oh, yeah.
It's there.
Yeah.
I think he wants to be a hitter, though.
Well, I think he does too, but over 40% fly ball and pull equals a guy that's going to hit home runs generally, especially with that exit velocity.
Yeah.
So
we'll go back and we'll talk when he has the 35 homer year.
Yep, it'll happen.
All right. And the poster boy for this type of thing, Christian Yelich, speaking of being the type of hitter you want to hit, you want to be.
He's just honestly one of my favorite players of all time. So take what I say with a grain of salt. He's 33 now. He's not running as much. 24 games this month, 7 homers, 2 steals, 312, 373, 570. He's on a 30-20 pace.
Yeah.
Not sure he gets to 20 steals, but he might. He's running a little less as the year's going on.
Oh, no, he might get 19, 18.
Well, he might get 15, but, yeah. He'll probably end up in the high teens to low 20s.
Yep.
Could easily hit 30 homers. This is his worst non-COVID BABIP by 32 points.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's been something. I don't think that he's ever going to be physically 100% again. And the reason is I look at defensive metrics to kind of gauge a player's physical state.
Mm-hmm.
And he has had a terrible defensive year. Yep. He's already like minus 10 runs saved or something. It's bad.
So there's been health issues with him for years now. And
but he had a discectomy this offseason.
Yeah.
And supposedly, at least for the swing, it's been okay. And I will tell you that the ground ball rate, which was super problematic in April and May, it was 62%, is at 36% in June. So okay. I think whatever was ailing him, whether he was trying to figure out the swing with you being of our age, you're used to pain.
Yep.
Like when you do things, they hurt, and that's how you know you're alive. So if you didn't have pain, it would just be so disconcerting that I can easily envision a scenario where Yelich is taking his first swings and saying, I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. This doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
And it took him a little bit to kind of figure out how to do this again.
Okay.
So we could be there.
Go back over the ground ball rate, because the things that I noticed right away was the 2-degree launch angle and almost 58% ground ball rate on the year. And this is why it's important to take different angle looks at some of these players, because that would tell me one story, but a 36% ground ball rate over the last month.
Well, over the last 20 days, which, that's not an insignificant sample size. I use 2 and 3 week data a lot when I'm looking for hot players and cold players. And, he's cut the ground ball rate almost in half, from 62% in April and May to 36% in June. And that is ample sample. June is long. We're at the 20th now. Like, there's been enough data that is a legitimate move. So I think that you're seeing a little more of the old healthy Yelich right now. And 7 homers in 24 games over the last month. I think he's back. So, is he going to be 100% ever again? Probably not, because he's 33 and his body's been beaten up. But can he give you the plus average, plus power numbers of the past? Yes, I think that he can.
But we watch pitchers when they are not the same as they were, adjust and become useful in different ways. Different
Clayton
ways.
Kershaw has gone through how many iterations now?
Yeah. So why can't hitters do that? Hitters do that as well. And Christian Yelich, you got to remember, he missed a lot of last season. He's just getting it back in tune right now.
I think you're right. It's what it looks like to me, and I'm willing to bank on it.
All right. Check out. So you're writing tomorrow, which would be.
I'm writing. Yep. It'll be up around 12 hours from now.
It's the 21st, because people will be watching this
later.
It'll
be the 21st.
Go check out your writing on the 21st. There'll be a sample on insiderbaseball.com. Go check it out. If you're a non-subscriber and you like what you're hearing here and you want to go check things out, go to the baseball blog. Lots of free samples for non-subscribers of the daily email we send out to everybody. And Skylar's doing it tomorrow. And You do it a couple of times a week? How often do you do it?
3 times a month, maybe 4. So I think I'm on the 21st and I'm on the 26th.
Nice. Very much worthwhile, as you found out in this podcast. Very much worthwhile. Go check that out. Go check us out at insideofbaseball.com, the Fantastics Inside of Baseball game. I got to start the end music here going here so we can get out of here. Check us out wherever you're finding this podcast. And again, go to insideofbaseball.com. Free to non-subscribers to Baseball Blog, and check out how we help you win championships. If you're struggling, good time to join us and get things straightened out. Right, Sky?
Absolutely. We'll be back next week with pitchers. Same deal.
All right. Talk to you later.
Take me out to the bar.